Welcome to the 25th Hour Podcast. I'm Lisa Curley Malice, your host, and today's guest is Francine Dick, who's a financial planner extraordinaire, and she helps women achieve financial confidence and security. She was born and still lives in Toronto, where she raised her 3 kids on her own. She loves Toronto, and she loves being a financial planner. So listen in. You will also find that we talk about her bottleneck and a couple solutions to email. So if you feel like you're wasting, losing, struggling with the time you spend on email, there's a couple solutions here towards the end of the episode. So be sure to listen in. I'm super excited to get started with you, Francine. We're new friends, so I cannot wait to learn more about you and your business. So tell me, what is it you do?
I am a financial planner, and I help primarily women, primarily older women who are going through some sort of transition in their life. They might be retiring, they might be divorcing, they might be marrying, lucky them, starting a new business, some sort of transition, and I help them both financially and I guess personally, it's all connected into the next stage of their life.
I never thought about a remarriage in that. Like many of my clients are similar ideal client, and I always think of widow, divorce. Never have I thought of remarriage. I love how you threw that in there.
Yeah. And that's really important, especially if it's, a second marriage,
Right.
to make sure that you have a solid financial plan in place for that.
Absolutely. Have
Mhm.
you always wanted to be a financial planner, or is this something new?
No, I mean, what little girl or boy says, when I grow up, I want to
Right.
be a financial planner? No. And actually, I was a photographer for about 20 years with my ex-husband. And then I think when our marriage broke up, a personal change led me to want to do professional change. And I was a single mom of 3 young children. So there were certain limitations, any job description that says ability to be flexible. Well, that's great. Daycare closes at 6 o'clock. So
Right.
how flexible can I be? And so I sort of stumbled into financial planning. It was really first through insurance. And I love working with people. I love helping people. And so it just sort of, I went into it. That's how I got into it. So it was a midlife career switch for me, as many women have midlife career switches. And I've been doing that now for about 20 years, and actually over 20 years, and just love what I do.
So tell me, what is it about financial planning that you're like this? Like I'm watching you right now, your whole face is lit up. You're like, what is it about it that you just love?
I think it's the satisfaction you get. I just went over a financial plan with a woman yesterday. We had met, and then I prepared everything and we did it. And she just, the way she said, it's so helpful to her to see her future clearly, to see what options she has. And I think that's the main thing. People don't know. So I can say, here's different scenarios, and if you want to do this, it's possible. If you want to do that, well, if you save a bit more money now or you work a year or two longer, it is possible. And here's what happens if you decide to sell your home at age 80. And so putting together the whole plan and giving them the confidence really to go out and live the life that they want. That's one part of it. There's so many other things when I can help people with their investments. I specialize in socially responsible investing, get them on track saving, and even insurance when I get a young family and I get them set up with life insurance or other types of insurance, and just that great feeling of knowing if something happens that at the very least their family is protected financially.
Right. Well, I think of, and this a lot in my business, I think through, if we make decisions based on data, we're so much better off than if we make them based on emotion. And so when you're able to say, look, here's what the data says. Yes, this is possible if X, Y, and Z happens. Yes, this is possible now. Here's the path for you to get to where you want to be, versus that feeling of, I'm going to put my head in the sand and I'm going to act as if anything is possible. Or the flip side of that, like I think of a friend of mine who is afraid to spend her money,
Yes.
yet she probably could if she would get some ideas on, and some lay the groundwork. So the work you do is so needed. Oh, all right. So what I've heard you say though is you love helping people. And so the more time you have, the more people you could help theoretically. Yet we know that everybody has a productivity bottleneck. There's something that happens, myself included, that will keep us from accomplishing everything we want in a day. And many times what we think it is really not what it is. It's like that layer below the layer. And so what I'm wondering for you, Francine, is what is it you think that keeps you from getting everything you want to get done in a day?
I think like many people, it's distractions. For me, a big distraction is emails, and there's just so many of them. And I always feel it's like a laundry basket. You work your way down through the laundry basket and then like, yay, it's almost empty. And then, it's like, oh no, I haven't changed the sheets for a month, or the towels need washing. And so the email, you kind of work it down. And then all of a sudden, like within 3 days, it's like way up there again. I'm sure like everyone, I get so many. So I do investments. So I'm getting emails from investment companies, insurance companies, my clients, promotional things. And just like every day, there's so much to go through. And that's work, because then we have our personal life too, where we get emails from friends, things we're interested in that we subscribe to. So just trying to read it all. Sometimes like I'll often just delete things without reading them. And then I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't miss anything really important there. So keeping up on top of that, managing that's a big distraction. I'm not huge on social media. That's not where I get my clients. That's not where they are. I do have Facebook and I have Instagram, and I have someone who sort of manages my social media, but still just trying to keep up on top of that too. So I'd say that's a really big bottleneck for me.
Okay. And other than emails and social media, like any other distractions that come in for you?
Well, I think the whole distraction thing with emails is also, when the pandemic started, there was this fear. People had, oh, everyone's going to work from home and everyone's going to sit around and watch soap operas all day and no one's going to work. Well, in fact, what we found was the opposite happened, because it's like you're 24/7 on call. And I've tried to set boundaries, and I put out of office on for most weekends. But there's the expectation also with email. If a client emails you on Sunday afternoon, they expect a reply within an hour. And people, I don't have the little dingy thing when I get an email, because that's all I hear all day.
Right. Like, it's there. Like, we know there's emails piling in for both of us right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. I probably got half a dozen coming in right now, but sometimes there's this expectation that when an email is sent, you have to reply right away. And if I have, like many people, I try to set certain times to look at my email, so I may not see it for a couple of hours. So I think that's also what's happened is everyone expects you to be there all the time on call.
Right. And back to what you said, like feel as if, everyone was going to go home and sit with their feet up and watch soap operas all day. But here we are 14 months later, and that was not true. Like, no. At all.
Yeah.
At all.
And I remember once, a couple months into the pandemic, and it was like Saturday night at 9:30 and I was answering an email and I suddenly stopped, have one of those moments. And I said, what are you doing, Francine? Like, this is crazy. And so that was when I decided, not every weekend, but, at least half my weekends on Friday afternoon, I just put, I'm out of taking the weekend off to recharge and refresh. And if it's an emergency, text or phone me, and otherwise I'll get back to you Monday morning, because you need that separation. But there's still that expectation, even during the work week, like, boom, you've got to reply right away.
Right. And in your business, are there things where you do have to reply right away?
Well, yes. So a lot of times, not as much as you would think. So what I will do, if I see something, somebody wants to know something, or someone says, why didn't I get my statement? Or, I'm waiting for this or that. So if it's something that, I or my assistant has to look into, I will respond to let them know I've got it. And I say, okay, I'm going to look into this and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So I find that helps, at least to acknowledge, that, I've received the email and I am checking into whatever concern they have.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're looking at your bottleneck being emails, so many emails, and I'm going to go and dig a little bit below that to say you've already started part of the boundary piece by, putting your out of office on in the weekend. Have you set any boundaries with clients just in general regarding when they can expect to receive communication from you during the week?
No, I have not.
Okay. I think that, as you said, with that perception now, because it may not have been the perception pre-COVID, that everyone would drop everything they had and respond immediately. But over the last 14 months, that definitely is. If you can set the boundary up front with your clients around, and you find your own wording. What I like to use with my clients is, to get the best of me, give me 1 business day to get back to you. That way I'm not under pressure to push out an email to you before I fully thought it through. And then they know what to expect. And then when you can do that a little bit quicker. How does that feel?
Yeah, that feels good, and that makes sense. Maybe when I send out my next newsletter to my clients, just to let them know. But I find, like, even just if I see the email, a quick response, helps. Just saying, okay, I'm going to look into this or whatever. I'll check it out and get back to you in a day or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think rarely. I don't know I guess some businesses, it's really urgent things, but unless someone's died or they need some money right away, or, the stock market's going to crash or something. Rarely does someone need something immediately. Right. So I think you can set that, you're right, set the expectation that, I'm here, I know you're there, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.
We teach people how to treat us. And so if we jump on their email, even if it is just to say, I got it and I'll get back to you, then that becomes that ingrained response that when I email Francine, I'm going to get an email back within an hour.
Okay.
And so
good
when
point.
we then set the expectation saying, hey, I'm going to get back to you in, 1 business, like mine is 1 business day. You will receive a reply from me in 1 business day. If you don't, that means something crazy has happened to your email and it is floating out in the world somewhere. And I invite you to email me again or call me or whatever. Like, something has happened, but that is that is a thing. And so once we do that, so there was a study, and I'm not going to remember the specifics, but it was along the lines of customer service. And they said, what is excellent customer service? And so they said, okay, it's when the person on the other end can get back to me within an hour. And they said, okay, great, we're going to cut our time to 30 minutes. And then they said, okay, what's great customer service? And then it was, oh, well, when people can get back to me within an hour, and they're like, great, we're going to cut our time to 10 minutes. And like, it did not matter as they kept cutting the time shorter and shorter and shorter, because the expectation was an hour or a day or whatever that case may be. All right. So congrats on nailing your bottleneck.
Well, thanks for your advice. That's really good advice. Yes.
Yeah. Email's your thing. And below email is actually boundaries, which you said. You're like, I'm really great with setting my boundaries. And
what's funny, because a lot of times when I do email people, and especially my head office, the compliance or contracting or whatever, and I get an auto reply about, we've received your email and we'll get back to you whenever we get back to you, whatever. So yeah, so that is interesting. Yeah.
Good. All right. So now let's fast forward, and the email is under control, and you've created all this extra time. So you've made for yourself a 25th hour. How do you like to spend it?
That's a good question. So many choices. So one might be to go hiking. But I live in Toronto, so I live right in a big city. So take me an hour to drive out to find a place. So if I could magically be, teleported there, spend an hour hiking. I do want to get back to playwriting. I'm actually part of a theater group, and I've had some plays staged there and read. And I've got a couple plays I'm working on, and they've just sort of been put on the back shelf, and I would like to get back to writing my plays again.
I know. So awesome. Perfect time to be writing your plays.
Yeah, right.
All right, so what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
So the best way and the easiest way to remember me, rather than my email, my website is askfrancine.ca.
Love it.
Very
Love
easy.
it.
Askfrancine.ca, so you can find out more about who I am and how I work. And there is a place on there, if you want to hop on a quick call, you can book it right there.
Perfect. And you are licensed to work in all of Canada?
Part of what I do, I can work all across Canada. I cannot work like for Americans or anywhere else in the world. But other things like insurance and investments, because of our rather archaic system, I am only licensed in Ontario.
Okay.
But I can do financial planning. If someone wants just financial planning, I can do that across Canada.
Perfect. Awesome.
I could probably do it in the US too, but I have enough trouble with Canadian tax laws, and the American it's worse than Canada, I think. So I don't even want to go there.
Well, you're like, you thought we figured out the bottleneck, but it's about to be a lot bigger if I expand into the US.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for your time today and for joining us. You're a pleasure. I'm so excited we've met.
I'm so excited we've met too, Lisa, and this has been really enjoyable. Lots of fun, as you can tell. I love talking about the work I do, and this is great advice I got today too about clearing that email bottleneck. So thank you.
You are welcome. I would love to know your takeaway from this episode with Francine. Be sure to shoot an email over to Lisa@Impactive Strategies and let me know, what are you going to take and do differently based on our discussion on email. Also, if you're thinking, hey, I know I have a productivity bottleneck, I'm wondering how to fix it, impactivestrategies.com/cost is where you can find a really great resource to help you walk through the bottleneck process.